Hi, everyone. I have Caleb Wheeler. He's one of my team members with Prosperity Mortgage, but he's actually inside our Ebby Halliday Realtors office. So we get to see Caleb every Tuesday, and he gives us updates on what's going on in the mortgage world. So when we're getting training on real estate, we also get training on the mortgage on how to help you. And this week, he had a lot of positive signs that were going on in real estate, and I just wanted to take just a minute for you just to kind of highlight what are the programs that you're seeing that the buyers are using, and what's your take on what was August like in the market?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Liz, very much. So, I mean, what we're seeing more and more here lately is just in comparison, is a lot more of seller paid closing costs, and that's actually helping a lot of buyers that not necessarily because they don't have money to put down payment and closing costs to buy a home, but helping use that money to get creative, whether it be to get lower interest rates permanently or to use them to get creatively to use as a 2-1 or 3-1 buy down. Just using them in different ways to get creative to help people build equity quicker, to be able to get into homes, have lower payments for the time being, with the possibility to be able to refinance in the future. So it's all about not because they don't have the money or because they need the money, but it's because, hey, why not get the money to be able to use and get creative to be able to get and build equity quicker? So yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that recently. Probably about 80 to 85% of clients that come through contracts last month alone had some type of seller pay closing cost credit on it.
That's what was huge to me. And because I like to focus in on listings, I was like, I wanted to kind of get that message out to the sellers because maybe that's the competitive edge that they need to have, or the thinking that they need to have, that perhaps we need to offer some incentives. I feel like it's almost become, at least in 2025, it's almost become like a seller expectation that if they're going to take the risk to purchase a home when rates are so high, that they're going to ask a seller to compensate them, for that risk. And it's been really not price dependent. I would say that's in the because the jumbo loan rates, the first time home buyers, the move up buyers, I see it going just across the board. And so in the meeting, when you highlighted that it was like 80 to 85%, I was like, that's what I'm seeing too. So I was like, really, it was something that for you, because you handle so many offices, you handle the Cedar Creek Lake, you handle the Rockwall office, you go into Collin County. So you're getting a snapshot of the second home, the primary home, the suburban homes, and even the in-town homes, in our Dallas market. So you get to see a little bit more than I get to see because I'm, a little bit more east of Dallas on those things. What other things should sellers keep in mind? What else did you see going on in the month of August with buyers?
Yeah, so as far as stuff that buyers are saying, right? What I wanted to show here is just some quick headlines, right?
Okay.
These are headlines that potential buyers are seeing whenever they're looking at the market. And what this is showing here, and I wanted to show you just real quick, is these are what buyers are seeing, what
Okay.
sellers should be aware of. 44% of home sellers are giving some type of concessions to buyers, just shy of the highest level on record since the real estate market's been around.
Yeah.
Buyer-friendly housing market grows as home prices hold steady. Home seller concessions climbing up market conditions shift. Concessions near record levels as sellers attempt to woo buyers. Again, meaning getting creative, using that money to get creative. Um, the housing market is finally buyer friendly. Here's where sellers are cutting prices. Is it finally a buyer's market? And how do we tell and what do we do about it? So, again, these are just some things I wanted to show because this is what buyers are seeing, to be able to show, hey, look, sellers, this is what's going on. This is what our buyers are seeing. And this is why we're seeing an uptick in seller paid closing cost credits provided by sellers or buyers even asking.
So really it's about, I always say to my seller clients, you've got to be the most competitive product on the market. That's price, and then the staging, having the presentation. But this year I feel like, after the presentation you had on Tuesday, that it's also about incentives. Like we have to add that third phrase, you got to have the right price. You've got to have the stage condition or be show ready. And then you've also got to have the incentives. And those are the homes that are moving that you had seen moving, I've seen moving in the market. So for any of my sellers who want to have a conversation with you, I know for some of the others, you've done some breakdowns with them. You kind of showed them how we can use that in marketing. And that's a really great benefit that Caleb offers. And then as far as my buyers, whether you are doing a jumbo loan, whether you're buying a second home, whether you're doing this, doesn't the rate buy down programs that for buyers, that's all kind of buyers?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's different programs for the different types of programs. So it is financially based upon each buyer specifically. So obviously, when we would talk with a buyer, we try to fit them and give them options based upon their financial profile.
And with like the specifically with the 2-1 buy down program, which is I think what we had in the office meeting was really popular that buyers were wanting, the sellers had to offer that. That was something that the sellers had to pay for. It wasn't that the buyers could buy themselves. The sellers actually had to offer that incentive. Did I understand that correctly?
Absolutely. So that while a 2-1 buy down, that is a seller incentive provided to a
Okay.
buyer, and it has to be fully funded by the seller. It can't be a combination of the buyer and seller, or the agent and the buyer, or the agent and seller. It's got to be fully funded by the seller. So just make sure that if it is something that you're wanting or looking into, that you do get with me to get that number to make sure that it's asked for in full, because that number does change based upon loan amount, based upon
Yeah.
interest rate. So every client's different on what it could actually be.
Well, Caleb, what's the best way for our buyers and sellers to reach you? What's your cell phone number? Because he handles a lot of offices, so I think a cell phone is a great way. What's your cell phone number?
Yeah, absolutely. So my cell phone is the best way to either text me or call me. So you could reach me at 469-237-9588. Again, that's 469-237-9588.
And I'll put the rest of his contact info below with your email, your website, your phone number, all those right kind of things. And Caleb does just coffee talks. You can just call him up, talk to him about your scenario, and there's not any high pressure with Caleb. So I think that's why a lot of my clients have really liked working with you, is because you're there for knowledge. You're not there for high pressure.
Absolutely. I'm here to be able to help find you the best situation that fits your needs. So
And aren't you also a veteran? Weren't you in the military?
yes, absolutely. So we'd like to be able to make sure that we give all of our frontline members all the information that they need for sure.
We do a lot of follow up after the sale, and I'll have a lot of veteran buyers that will ask questions. And I always say, well, we have a veteran and he's a loan officer in our office. So let me get you with Caleb. So if they even have a question and they're a veteran, um, Caleb even handles those questions and redirects you, sometimes to your veteran benefits or things like that. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it very much, Liz.
All right. Well, thanks, Caleb. And I'm going to try and do this series once a week because Caleb always has great information at our office meetings. It may be bi-weekly until we get normal on a pace with the doing these Zooms. But as we see this market shift, there's a small window of opportunity, I feel like, for buyers to have these incentives. I think next year is going to be different. I know there's no crystal ball, but I'm still seeing a lot of signs in the market that buyers have got a short window for this time period where they can get these type of incentives out of a seller. So thank you, Caleb, and we look forward to hearing more information about you and how buyers can take advantage of incentives to make these high interest rates really feel more comfortable and so that they can take a leap of faith, jump into that real estate world, and honestly,
Yeah, well, I appreciate it very much. And yeah, you're correct. The one constant thing about the real estate market is I've always been told is change. So
yeah, I feel that I see the signs of change happening, but 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 that's what Caleb is going to be focusing on for right now. Well, take care and I'll get to see you. See you next Tuesday.